Alright, here we go. Gotta do this fast. Zipped it all the way around. Sometimes tack welds don't want to stay. Oh man, I am worried, boys. If that works out okay, then I'm going to run it out to the airport and see how it fits, and then see how much of this plate that goes on back there and back there. I have to cut that on my big metal cutting brake back there and tack weld it in there and there. So we'll see, let it cool a minute. I tell you, when you put heat on it, you never know what's going to happen. Okay, it was sticking when I first tried it. Gave it a few little rub taps here. We got her going. Thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord. Alright, now it's get it off, clean it up, get it to the airport and see how it fits up on the airplane. Fix the airplane, I'll be happy. Well, now that we know that the door absolutely fits, it's just about time to cut and weld in our flanges, which will be on the bottom side. A flange here and a flange there. Go to the hobby store, get yourself some of this 3/32 piano wire. They carry that stuff at hobby shops. That stuff is stouter than you can imagine, and that's what we're going to use for our rods. Still got to figure out how I'm going to route that. I've got a fairly good idea how I'm going to do it. Probably some kind of a bushing in there, and maybe some kind of a Teflon bush, something. I'll come up with something. Anyway, we know that our flanges need to be as wide as this particular straight edge, because I measured it on the airplane yesterday, so I'm going to mark those off, two of those, and cut them on the shear over here. Now I'm going to cut those flanges out of 25 thousandths 4130 steel sheet. And the reason is, you could use mild steel, but those flanges over the years are going to take a beating from that door opening, closing, banging around, flying around with the door open in flight and it flopping around. So mild steel will, it'll bend and deform and so forth and so on, whereas the 4130 will be more likely to hold its shape. It will you know, eventually after several years start taking on little dings and such, but it'll hold up better than mild steel. I'm going to take my little Sharpie and I'm going to cut it out of this edge over here. I'll throw on a little gray primer and just a mist coat, and then use a pencil after it flashes off to mark on it. And then once I've got my pieces all marked out, I think I've already covered this at one point, get it all marked out, then a little acetone, a little MEK, a little lacquer thinner, whatever will take the primer right off. You can use machinist blue dye, just whatever works for you. The little primer trick works really great for me, and the great thing about it is you don't have to scribe lines with a sharp edge or anything. You can use your number 2 pencil and it shows up great. So anyway, got it marked. Gonna go take the plastic off of the shear and cut those pieces and start getting them ready to weld in. That's a really handy little tool to have around the shop. I picked it up a couple or 3 years ago at Northern Tools. It's a 3-in-1. It's a shear, it's a brake, and it's a roller. You can roll panels, and I've really used that quite a bit. I use the shear more than anything. The brake, I haven't used it as much because I use my little brake over there more often than not. But this thing comes in really handy. Now I looked at the models that Harbor Freight had compared to this. Oh, dadgum, pulled a crick in my neck, a Rinsky son of a Mio. Foot of Rinsky. Well, about them apples, bright eyes. Man, it just does a trick job of it. Really does a nice job. Alright, so anyway, cut you a couple of pieces and we'll be ready to roll. Alright, we're going to shim it up a little bit, lay our piece on there. We're going to weld just past the center of the tube for no particular reason other than that's a good place to put your weld. Make sure it comes off 90 degrees to the door, or maybe slightly up just a hair. Just not much, just a hair. Okay, and we're going to determine from our lines that we have already drawn where we're going to put that baby. That looks good right there. Of course, we will round that corner right there. Maybe. Some kind of rounding like that. We'll figure that out. Looks like I got that right anyway. Just come along the bottom there. really a lot of area there. Maybe we should cut that. No, not really. Okay. And we put on some kind of a rounded, get my circle templates and figure that out and then cut it out. And we'll tack her in. Well, first we'll clean the edges real good and then we'll tack her in. That one. Okay, there we have that one. All of the edges have been polished, cleaned up, no sharp edges, burrs anywhere. Now on the back side, we're going to come in from the back side. We're going to come in about 3/16 or so. I need that fine line Sharpie. About 3/16, and we're going to break that edge just ever so slightly. Break it down 3/16. Not only will that give us a nice finished appearance, but it'll also help to stiffen that edge somewhat. I'm not going to go hog wild bending it, we're just going to, just a little crease. Take it over to the brake and just kind of break it down just a little bit. Now this little brake right here has just been as handy as a shirt on a pocket. I mean, it comes in handy. I picked this up from Harbor Freight several years back, 3 years back maybe. And man, I used the heck out of that thing. And you can find them on sale at Harbor Freight all the time. I'm going to have to adjust that end down there. Continuing on, I had to adjust the brake. Sometimes it will spring a little bit, and so you've got to adjust it on both ends and in the middle too. Okay, now remember, we just want a little crease. We don't want to go hog wild there. Just a little visual. Keep in mind, it's probably better if you come around, well, just still needs a little adjustment. Let's see if we can make her work right there. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Just a little crease. Now, if you get a little bit too much crease, which we did, you can take a ball peen and a piece of wood and massage it down to just where you want it. Oh yeah, now that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Just exactly the way I want it. And we're going to fit it up there, put some wet rags in there of course, and we're going to come in there and quickly tack weld it in. And then go to the other end. Well, it's raining out there, so even if we did get it finished and cleaned up and ready to prime today, it's just too doggone humid. And we've got a real cold front blowing in tonight. It's supposed to be rains, ice, all that kind of malarkey. Ah, yes. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to pack our spring with cold, wet paper towels and cloth towels. Really get it up in there. Kind of a nerve-wracking operation, I'm telling you. Alright. Let's see if we can get this baby done without ruining our springs. Smoke gets in your eyes. Oh, da, da, da. Kind of go about 2.5 inches between tacks on my eyeballs. This is an area where you're probably not going to have pretty little welds. You get in there, you're trying to get the dadgum thing done quickly so you don't ruin your foot. You don't ruin your spring tension. Using quite a bit of heat. Smoke gets in your eyes. What is that country song? How does it go? Something like thick smoke. Let's see, how does that go? I need another welding rod. Foot, why didn't I prepare? Thick smoke. How does that go? Drive me nuts. Let's see. Thick smoke. And loud, loud music. I forgot the middle part. Thick smoke. Oh, I got it. Thick smoke, dim lights, and loud, loud music. That's the only kind of life you'll ever understand. Who did that? Let's see. Yeah, who was the guy that sang that first? Mamma mia! You know, doing this kind of stuff, you could catch. What's that? Pulmonary. What is that? I'll think of it in a minute. Chronic pulmonary COPD. Chronic obstructive pulmonary. Yeah, gum your eyes. I'm going to throw a little more heat on you. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or something like that. Okay, baby. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the one that can get it. Shit. Help me, Lord. Big smoke, dim lights, and loud music. I don't like to quench my wells, but I want to save my springs. Oh Lord. Big smoke, dim lights, and loud music. It's the only kind of life that you'll ever understand. Put a heat sink right there on it. That'll suck some of that heat out. There we go. Come on, baby. Alright. Well, we were doing something right, I suspect, because it's cooled down and it's working perfectly. Man, we're in good shape. We're getting close, baby, getting close. Just got to run those wires, and then it'll be ready to, well, I've got a wire brush in the road area, and I'm going to do that right now. Well, I do believe that Delrin is going to be the answer to our problems. I've already marked a piece I'm going to cut on the bandsaw. I cut a length 1/2 inch wide, then I'm going to split it right down the middle, make it about a, well, split it down the middle, sand it down to about 1/8 of an inch, and then drill a little slot. Well, I'll cut it to fit wherever I need. Cut a little slot and then drill 2 holes and pop rivet it onto the sheet metal. And that is what our rear pull rod is going to ride in, Delrin, hopefully. Cross your fingers. This is some pretty tough stuff, but it readily cuts on the bandsaw. It's just finger the thing down. Use your finger as a guide. And we're going to cut that baby right down the middle. There we have it. Both of them a little more than 1/8 of an inch, but they'll sand down. And that's what our rod is going to ride in, hopefully, and save the rod from wearing itself in half even. And we'll clean those babies up on the belt sander. But that sands out real nice. That is some tough stuff and great stuff for fair leads, so forth and so on. Think about it, wherever you may need a oddball fair lead somewhere in your airplane, cut you a piece of Delrin, baby. Mount it in there, and that stuff, just wears and wears and wears. It's good stuff, great stuff, good for bearings, and not for engine bearings, but bearings in your control system and so forth and so on. And we'll cut our little slots with the Dremel tool cut-off saw. And we'll clean those holes out with the Dremel tool grinding rock. Hopefully this will be an aggressive rock. What I've done is I've cut a piece of Delrin that'll fit up tight into that channel. Stick it up in there as far as it'll go, as tight as it'll go. Draw your channel on the Delrin with your Sharpie. Then figure out right about an average of where that wire is going to run. Make you a center line, pop it out, mark the top, and we're going to go over there and drill an 1/8 inch hole right there. Now, an 1/8 inch hole is plenty big enough for a 3/16 rod, pull rod, to ride in and out of, and the Delrin will work out. Then we're going to drill and pop rivet with the 3/16 pop rivet. Okay, now we're going to drill our hole with 3/16. Use something to back up your finger. You don't want to drill into your finger. Okay, we pretty much marked our Delrin. Okay, we're going to clean the Delrin up on the sandpaper a little bit. And now, before we pop rivet that baby in place, we're going to clean it and throw a little automotive primer on it where that Delrin is going to cover the area up. Uh-oh, President Obama calling. Hello. He said, what engine have you got in your airplane? I told him, and he said, well, you can't be in light sport because 100 horsepower is the maximum. And I said, I've never heard that. I said, I've heard a maximum speed, a maximum weight, and all of that, but I've never heard of a horsepower limit. Have you? I've never read that. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, I've never read that in any of the regulations. I'm going to have to look it up. Hey man, I got to run. I got something doing. I'll call you back later. All right. I'm just going to show one of these on camera and then finish them out off the camera. I've got a deburr. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm going to throw a little Rust-Oleum auto primer in that baby. Bell run right up in there. Come on, baby. Our 3/16 pop rivet shoved home. Get our master mechanic rivet gun here. Come on. And there we have the first Delrin fair lead installed. We've got 1, 2, 3 more to go. I'll do them off camera.